All right, folks, it's almost mid-March, very close to it, a couple weeks away from official spring, and I figured it was time for a walk through the food forest. We're starting out over here at the top swale at the far end, and this autumn olive is in full leaf out, but not bloom yet. These actually, you know, some plants bloom and then leaf, and some plants leaf and then bloom. Autumn olive leaves and then blooms. And if you've ever smelled it, the smell is absolutely beautiful when it blooms out. A little pecan back in there, still trying to make a go of it. We got a locust here. The locust will start leafing out and budding out pretty soon. They'll be covered with those white flowers, but they're not ready yet. Dwarf mulberry. This is going to be a year of mulberries, guys. I mean, it is absolutely bad. All of these, and I have, you know, probably a dozen of these trees. There's another one there. They're already not just leafing out; they are covered in you know, pre-berries, I guess you'd call them. A locust there. We got a lot of seed down, good variety, some vegetables, herbs, and things like that, and other stuff that will be going in a little bit later, and then mulched with straw. So I mean, next rain we should be really looking good. Everything's kind of ready to go, tucked in under there. This is that white mulberry. These trees are 3 years old. They were planted 3 years ago. There's 3 of them on the property, and they're just absolutely enormous trees. And last year was the first year they produced at all. And I'm thinking this year will be the year of the white mulberry, not just the red mulberry. Another autumn olive back there, some sand cherries in here, locust. Most of this stuff in this area just isn't ready to wake up yet. That's a jujube. And we've got to get the farmhand Cody in here. All of these are suckers from that one tree. And they're really thorny, and what they produce is not that good for eating. So no reason to let them go. I already cut a bunch of it down for him, so he had at least enough room to get in here and mulch, and we'll just burn that stuff off. There's not much good to come from that suckering off your jujube. So be careful where you plant them, and stay a little bit further ahead of them than we have on that one. More locust support trees. Got an apple back there. About none of the apples are ready to wake up yet. It's mostly the stone fruit that's waking up in the autumn olives. There's one of our first sand cherries to start leafing out. That's pretty cool. A little bud action going on. Nanking cherries down in the top orchard are starting to bloom. We've never got any production off of those, but the sand cherries we have production on. That's actually an almond, and there's its friend, cross-pollination almond, behind it back there. Dana cat. Yeah, she wants to get a can. You're gonna have to wait till I'm done, girl. Sorry. I'll come around here. That peach is banging. And this just really started to open, so I don't know what kind of fruit set we're gonna get on it yet, but we've gotten some fruit set on trees that we haven't before, so hopefully this one will do good too, because man, that's gotta be a few gallons of peach brandy, huh? Once it goes through the distiller. There we go, we got a pear tree and its vertical habitat. We'll support locust in the middle. Pond's doing nice. We just covered this recently, so we won't hear, but got time to get the aquatic vegetation going on the surface pretty soon before we get into that algal bloom season. And we'll cruise down the end here through our locust row. These fences, since I guess some of you don't know this, the ducks are going to be going away. We have made a decision for our life that we don't want to farm ducks commercially anymore, and we may have a couple when it's all said and done with, but in the end we are selling off our duck flock. They're in the west pasture now. They've done good work here, but honestly they're at a point now where they're eating stuff, everything in the understory, faster than I can grow it. And to take the property to another level, it's not just a lifestyle thing, to put the property itself, we've got to make that change. So anyway, another autumn olive, locust, native plums. They're not out yet. That's funny that the domestic plums are and the natives aren't. Another big old locust, another locust support. We got our other white mulberry, not quite as impressive as the last one, but I really pruned that one back to try to encourage it to fruit, and that did work. It's a pluot or plum apricot cross right there. Either that or a plum cod, I don't remember. A little apple tree row here, nobody's awake yet. That's all peach growing off a rootstock. The actual tree died. We're gonna give it this year to see if it produces anything. that we can at least make mead or wine or brandy out of. And if it does, great. If not, that thing's got to go because it's taking up space that something more productive could go into. Kind of shading out that Feijoa right there. And more support species, apple trees. Everybody's asleep here. This is Apple Tree Central. We got a bunch of suckers to get off of this tree right here. I need to do that soon. That's a, oh, not an apricot, I can't think now, nectarine. So I need to get those suckers off where it starts blooming out. This peach has always come out really early, and it's never produced anything because it's come out so early, it's gotten hit with a frost. This year it came out early, but it's got fruit set on it everywhere. So we should get a bunch of peaches off this guy. This guy looks heavy in fruit set right now. That's an Arkansas black apple. That's a locust support species, and another plum. Plum's looking good. They got starting to get vegetation coming up through the mulch. Ducks have not been here for a few weeks, and I think it shows. The plantain is really starting to come on strong. Dana, quit attacking my feet. Little Bruce plum right there, covered in flowers. This has been the best producing autumn olive on the property. I expect this year to be no different. We'll make a couple gallons of autumn olive meat off of that one plant alone. And we got one of our surviving cherries there. They don't do well here. We gave it a shot, but the ones that are alive will leave. We've lost some action. There's a Stella back there that hasn't leafed out yet, so there's nothing to cross-pollinate with this. So I don't know that it'll produce. And there's our blackberry row, and our blackberries are all still asleep. And we got our peach tree here. This guy was one of the original trees from the property that we dug up and stuck in the swale. Another apple, I think that's also an Arkansas black. Apples are all asleep. Autumn olive waking up back there. This is a Fuyu persimmon. It's also asleep. So you see a lot of stuff's asleep. All of the figs down here in Fig Central got frozen to the ground. We'll have to wait and see how they come up from the roots. And we're looking for that one super survivor fig that will be very productive in our ecosystem. This is a goose planted, I'm actually guessing, tree. It was from a seed from another peach tree. We did not plant this tree, so it's reproduced itself. That's kind of nice. Dana, you're on my last nerve, man. You really are. There's our pear tree at the end, another legacy tree, and then there's another autumn olive. We'll come around here and we'll be finished, and then Dana can get fed. Right, Dana? Huh? She's literally attacking my feet, trying to get my attention like, hey, feed me. That's support locust there at the end. These locust trees are 2 years old and they're about 13 to 14 feet tall. We got a all red plum, I think is what that's called. I don't remember which one it is. There's so many trees here. This is mostly apples and pears, so they're asleep except for the support species there, the autumn olives. Those autumn olives are great as they flower earlier than a lot of the apples and the pears. That brings your pollinators in that leave when the stone fruit's done. So we kind of think about where all this is. Especially here, we get a lot of pollination from, not honeybees, but your leafcutter bees and your mason bees. And if you give them enough to set up shop, by the time your later trees come out, they're still here. So things are looking good. We got we planted a few elderberries here. I think there was like 9. We lost a couple. And the ones that survive now, they're sending out runners, and we got elderberry popping up everywhere. So this whole section was designed to eventually fill itself in. It took a couple years longer than we wanted, but we've now reached that point where we're having those plants come through that bed there and sucker in. And with nobody to eat off the young shoots, they should do really well. Another mulberry, a couple fruit trees we have in here. That's a pluot, if I remember right. We'll see what it does. We'll tell you what it is here in just a second. No, we won't. That's not the right tag. That's the rootstock tag. Variety tag is long gone, probably gooseified. Anyway, so that's where we're at this year. I expected a couple more weeks to be able to show you a lot more activity. Charlie's joined us. And we'll try to do more property walks. Like I said, as it gets more interesting as we move through the spring. We had a really wet January and February, but it ain't rained now in a couple weeks, so we needed some rain to really to kickstart this now that there's some warmth to go with it. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Hope you have a good day. Tell me what you want to see next. I'll try to do it for you. Take care.